In this screencast, we're going to talk about a way to simplify the Excel-based monthly budgeting cycle using XLhub. There's got to be a better way. All across the world, there are businesses every month that spend a lot of time updating their budgets. The various department forecasts need to be consolidated each month into the overall company forecast. So what happens is that spreadsheets are emailed around. Lots of busy people are spending time cutting and pasting from one spreadsheet to another. If there are last minute updates to be made, it can take a lot of time. And then it's very hard to compare last month's numbers to this month's numbers, or to compare any historical data, because each month is typically stored in a different spreadsheet, and it's very difficult to compare data across different spreadsheets. So there's got to be a better way. How about if spreadsheets did not have to be emailed around? Consolidations could be performed at the click of a button. Data could easily be sliced and diced, and data from previous months could be compared with each other very easily. And how about even better if the budget and forecast data could be combined with the actuals from the accounting system, so that we can merge data from the accounting system and data in spreadsheets together and analyze it, slice and dice it, and be able to make intelligent decisions. Well, all this is possible. Let's introduce XLhub. XLhub does not require programmers to make all this happen, and you retain control over the layout of your spreadsheet and how you customize your budgeting process in Excel. So now we're going to show you a demo of how XLhub works. So now we're going to demonstrate what it's like to use XLhub. So let's create our monthly budgeting spreadsheet. And what the spreadsheet's going to look like eventually is something like this. Okay, so we're going to be requesting budgets from here, and we've got department numbers, account names. For display purposes, we've chosen even to concatenate the account number and account name. And across the top, we've got the different months where we'll be entering the budgeted amount. And further to the right, we've got a total for the year, and we've also got some columns for comments, as well as who updated what when. So this is a pretty typical spreadsheet, and so let's first start with the process of creating it. So you'll start with a blank Excel workbook, and then eventually you'll create your budgeting template, or you probably already have one, which has the different columns across the top. Then you'll add more data to it with department numbers, account names, etc. And eventually you'll have more information in your spreadsheet. Okay, so now that your spreadsheet's ready to go, we want to hub the spreadsheet using XLhub. What happens when you hub the spreadsheet is that your spreadsheet gets connected to a database in the back end. So when you save data, you can actually save the data into a database table, thereby making it available for reporting and combining with data that came from other spreadsheets or even other applications. So here's how the wizard works. After you've installed XLhub, you'll have this ribbon, and I'll be in the table that I want to hub, and I'll say hub the table. Up comes the wizard. I will name my application My Budgeting Template, and I'll say this is a demonstration of how XLhub works. Done. So now what XLhub is doing is it's looking through my table to see what kind of columns I have in the database, and it'll present these to me and allow me to override some of the defaults that it selected. So what happened here is that XLhub identified these columns and proposed what the data type should be. So we can go ahead and overrule some of these. So this text, I want this to be at least 20 in length. Uh, Department number is always going to be a 4-digit integer. Parent account 4-digit integer. Account number is 4-digit integer. No problem. I'll just give myself some more room here for added flexibility. And then I want to make sure that the data that I enter in the monthly column, this is the numeric data, that it's in the right format and the right layout. So since I'm not going to be using cents, everything's going to be in dollars, I'm okay with leaving these as integers. And just to confirm, I want a long comments column. Updated by doesn't need to be that long, so I'll say it's 50. And then this, we can pick the correct type. And I'll say, you know what, this is just a date and time field. And that's all I really need. One thing to note is that in the concatenated name, I actually created a formula that combined the account number and account name. And so we're making a note here that XLhub will allow the formula as well. So not only will we save the value in that cell, we'll also save the formula in case it needs to be recreated. And that's it. So I'm going to hit OK. And now the wizard's going to execute. And in the back end, it'll create my application, my budgeting template. And it'll also create a database table that will store the data that I save in my spreadsheet. So all we do is close this. We're going to exit Excel. And say yes, because I did make some changes. And I'm going to come back into Excel. So when I come back, I'm going to notice under the XLhub option that my new application should be here. Okay, so I open up my budgeting template. And here it is. Here's the group with my budgeting template. This is the name that I entered. And I have two options. I can save the data and I can retrieve the data. So suppose now I want to make some changes here. I'll say, the salaries and wages for this department in October are going to be 90,000, 90,000, and 90,000. And I make the change and I can save the data. So now XLhub will present another dialog to me, and it'll just ask me to enter some comments about this version. So I'll say updated salary for Q4, and I'll also just make a comment that this is the department 1030 budget updated on, let's just say 6/22. Okay, and I'll save it. And now what XLhub is doing is it's saving the data that's in this spreadsheet into a database. And voila, that's our introduction to how XLhub works. So just in summary, what we did was we selected our table, we named our application, we set the column types and lengths, and then we saved the data to XLhub. Thank you for watching the screencast.